Wow. I was not expecting to do another one of these so soon. Typically with Switch 2 videos, when it comes to news stuff, I don't typically have to do them back to back within the same day, but that is not the case for today. I literally just a few hours ago filmed that big major update regarding the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, which if you guys haven't seen that video, I highly recommend you check it out, as it does kind of pertain to some information about what we're going to be talking about today, because I know that people are still worried about the whole pre-order situation. There's been some articles that have come out about pre-orders that we're going to be going over today, what it means, what people are not realizing, and kind of help you guys get some realization of what to expect. Without further ado, let's first remind you guys, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel yet, I would greatly appreciate it if you could backslash that subscribe button, like the video. If not, it's all good. We did just hit 16,000 subscribers, so thank you guys very much for that. It would be really cool if somehow, some way we can hit 17,000 before I head to New York City next month for the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, but if that's not possible, that's okay. Without further ado, let's jump right into the news. Let's start with the big one that everyone's going crazy over. I do think it's a placeholder date. I think this does give us information of some ideas of what to expect, and I'll tell you why. If you guys have not heard, Target accidentally did some sort of pre-order date for the Nintendo Switch 2 on their website. It was showing a date of April 30th. I think it even had a time on it, but I believe that is just a placeholder date. I don't think this is something to go too crazy over the fact. However, I do feel that the only thing that this does indicate is that the pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch 2 is happening this month. Now, the reason why I say that is that it's coded in to have April into there. Most of the time, placeholders for pre-orders are typically December 31st and then whatever year that we're in. That did not happen for this because I believe they thought that they were going to be able to have this system available pre-order in April, and then it got delayed, so then they had to cross that out, but they still put April on there. So I feel like what this indicates is that we are getting the Switch 2 pre-orders this month. I just don't know when. I do have a few ideas that we're going to talk about in this video of what this could mean. I do see a lot of people thinking that we're getting, for whatever reason, and I'm going to tell you that this is not the case, but for whatever reason, a lot of people are thinking we're getting pre-order news over at the Mario Kart World presentation that's happening this Thursday. And I'm going to tell you now that is not going to happen. The reason why I'm saying that is that Direct was probably more than likely already edited and filmed before this whole situation came out with the pre-orders being delayed, the whole Tarif situation, all of that. So whatever we get on Thursday is stuff that was filmed and edited a long time ago. A lot of the times these Directs are filmed and edited in advance. It's just because how Nintendo rolls, that's how they like to do their presentations, and we're not going to see any pre-order news when it comes to that. One thing that people do need to realize that I haven't seen people talk about a lot is we are getting the pre-order soon, because Nintendo's next big investors meeting is on May 8th, and Nintendo needs to have all the pre-orders available every country to report these numbers over to their investors, because investors are probably going to have a lot of questions right now regarding the Switch 2, because there's a lot of controversy with it. The prices of the games, the prices of the system, the whole pre-order mess. Nintendo is going to want to resolve the pre-order issue before they go straight into that investors. And I know some people have thought that the pre-orders would be happening on May 8th, but the only thing that is happening on May 8th is the official Nintendo website pre-orders, which I will say that is probably a good place to try to pre-order the Switch 2 if you have concerns about the system being hard to pre-order. However, as we talked about in the last video, I don't think there is going to be a situation to where pre-orders are going to immediately sell out for this system. It is reported that GameStop will be getting 100 Switch 2s at every store on launch date, which probably means every other retailer is having the same thing. Now, what I do think is a still strong possibility regarding the pre-orders is Nintendo could just shadow drop this. I remember with the situations with Amiibo, if you guys were a part of that era, the 2014 to 2015 era when amiibos were super duper hard to get. The pre-order situation was just a big situation, a big mess. All about the pre-orders was a giant mess. It was a whole situation. People were doing videos, calling GameStop employees, trying to figure out the whole pre-orders. When the amiibos were available for pre-order, it was just random. They didn't have a set date. It just randomly happened. Nintendo did that because they knew how much of an uproar that the pre-order situation was going to be for an amiibos, and I question if we're going to see the same thing happen, since there's already been so many delays. Or I say so many, there's just been one major delay of the Switch 2. I think it just makes sense from Nintendo's point of view and how they've done things in the past, that this system, you're just gonna wake up one morning and find out that it is available for pre-order. Because if Nintendo makes an announcement, tells a date, I mean, I know some people aren't going to like that. Well, I still don't even think the pre-orders are going to sell out. But if somehow the pre-orders do sell out for this system, because Nintendo has kept this system well stocked, if it does sell out, I think that the best way to announce it in a pre-order date, all that, is just randomly shadow drop it. I think that gives everyone the best opportunity, especially with the bots, the whole situation with that. I think this just needs to be randomly shadow dropped. I know that's going to be a hot take for a lot of people, but that's how I think Nintendo should do this. And I think there's a possibility that that's going to happen, especially considering that they're already into the system of Target. I think Best Buy has a similar placeholder. I don't know. If we find out more news about this, I will try to do a video ASAP about it. But I feel like what's going to end up happening is we're all going to wake up one day, we're going to be scrolling online and see that it's available pre-order. That's what I think is going to happen. That's what Nintendo did with Amiibo, because they saw what uproar was happening with Amiibos. That was, in their eyes, the best strategy, and I think they could redo that here. Now, this is one that is very much surprising, because a lot of us was thinking that the cartridges were literally the same exact thing, just the color red. But it is confirmed that the Nintendo Switch 2 cartridges is going to have a notch on it. I guess this is kind of their response to, like, if you remember the 3DS, it has like a little notch on it too with the 3DS cartridges, and that will be the way to make sure you don't put these cartridges into your older systems. However, I still think you could fit a Switch 2 cartridge within the Nintendo Switch 1, but I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, as we get closer to the Switch 2 date. But it's cool that this is happening, I guess. I'm surprised that this wasn't brought up at the presentation. Another thing that was left out, but this is a really weird thing to leave out because this doesn't hurt or help Nintendo. But I figured since they made such a big deal about the cartridges being red on the presentation, they would have went ahead to tell us that the cartridge was going to have a notch on it. I would have thought that would have made the most sense since they already made a big deal about it, but no. But we have this confirmation, so don't know what that does for us, but that's breaking news right there. This one kind of surprised me because it makes it sound like there's a possibility that this game could come to the Switch 2. However, I know there's a lot of controversy with this game. There's a lot of controversy just in general with live service games. But Bungie is working on the big new Marathon game. Marathon has had a big gameplay reveal where they showed off the game. I think there's hours of gameplay. I think they had like a big media event for Marathon. And Bungie was asked if this game could be coming to the Switch 2. And Bungie said that they currently have no plans for it, but it is something they would consider in the future, which I thought was very interesting. I know that this game was something that PlayStation was really hyping up to have on their system. In fact, Bungie is owned by PlayStation Studios, or PlayStation Studios. It is a PlayStation studio now. I would have thought that this would be something that PlayStation would want to keep onto their console as long as possible. Yeah, it looks like PlayStation could potentially going the cross console route that Xbox has been doing, which is putting a few of their other IPs on all consoles. We've seen PlayStation do it with a few other things that Bandai Namco has worked on, but this is an actual IP that they legitimately own, have no sort of weird rights issue with Bandai or anything like that. This is something that's actually a PlayStation IP in its full now that could be heading to Switch, and I'm wondering if other PlayStation things could be happening in the future. And I don't know why I say that, because everybody's golf is fully PlayStation, and we know that's coming to Switch 1. So I guess this is going to be a common thing where we see PlayStation and Xbox put their games on the Switch too, which Xbox is known to already do that type of stuff, but PlayStation doing that is kind of huge. And for it to be this type of game, something that they're investing a lot of money into most likely, just really surprises me. Like I said, I know there's a lot of controversy right now when it comes to games with live service, and it looks like this is just a full-on live service game. So we'll see how long this game lives, if it even survives, because, you know, Concord was supposed to be the next big thing for PlayStation, and that shut down within a month. So I think we could see history repeat itself. Speaking of PlayStation, former PlayStation executive. Speaking of PlayStation, we have former executive PlayStation employee Yoshida commenting on the Nintendo Switch 2. It's been known that he is a huge Nintendo fan, so consider that when we are reading this quote that he made. He found that the Nintendo Direct that had happened of the Switch 2 was underwhelming and gave it a 7 out of 10. He actually said a lot of things about the Switch 2, but I'm gonna be honest with y'all, this article, they showed part of the quote, then they put their thoughts into it, then continued the quote, and then the quote is like mixed into other things. This article, I love Go Nintendo, but I don't understand why y'all made this article the way that you did. So there's a lot to unpack. I don't know even if my editor Coleman will be able to unpack what was said. He might attempt it. He might see what I'm saying and be like, what in the world? Why did they show most of this? And then it's a mess with this article.
So middle school English, aka my mom, because I was homeschooled, taught me that this is actually called paraphrasing and a partial quote, I guess. I don't really know the formal literary name for this type of behavior, but for lack of a better term, it's paraphrasing with a quote. They're saying Yoshida said that he wanted to see more new games and less ports and found the Direct to be underwhelming. And they put that in quotes to show, well, this is something he's actually saying, and they're just quoting him to tie the entire thing together and giving it a score out of 7 out of 10.
He questions Nintendo's strategy, and I think that's very important to talk about, because he is a very big Nintendo fan. He loves Nintendo, and to see that, I think is very interesting. Guys, that's all I got for you today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure to backslash that subscribe button, like the video, check out the Twitter, check out the Instagram, check out the Discord, become a Monado Marine, $5 a month. Helps out the channel tremendously. All of it's going towards our New York trip next month. I will see y'all in the next video. I would love to hear what y'all are thinking about everything that we talked about today. Let me know what you guys think's happening with the pre-order stuff. My money's on a Shadow Drop pre-order date, and I think everyone's going to be upset about that, but I feel like with the strategy that Nintendo has going on right now, and they have to get this done before their investors meeting, I just think it makes sense for a Shadow Drop. But who knows? Who knows? I could be wrong. See you guys in the next video. Peace.